I told you that I would be following you around while you work, not evaluating, but just observing, taking notes, and that we would meet afterwards and I would give you some tips? How do you think it would make you feel for me to be with you at your meetings, while you're on your phone calls, or working at your desk? What if I said that after all of that, you had done really well? You took up some of those tips and made shifts in how you work. The coaching was a success. In fact, even though I said you would not be evaluated, you scored all fives, the top score. But what if I then came back to you and said that my supervisor had told me I couldn't give all fives, that your scores were too high? So we adjusted a couple of them down to a 4. You would probably feel frustrated, maybe even a little peeved. The experience was invasive and ultimately not worth your time. Well, if you're a teacher, you know what I'm talking about. Teacher coaching is just one example of the many types of mandated teacher support models that are imposed upon teachers on a daily basis. Often these are well-intentioned professional development programs that are meant to improve problematic student outcomes. Nearly all the time, these interventions come from the top, and teachers have little to no say about if or how or why they should participate in them. But what if things were different? What if teachers were involved from the start in the instructional improvements they would engage in? What if they co-designed curriculum based on their own preferences, strengths, and on what their students need? What if we also asked for student input and included that in our design? What if rather than delivering to teachers, we were creating with teachers? 4 years ago, we were able to put these ideas into practice. Together with a team of colleagues in the School of Education at CU and Stanford, we brought together teachers, district leaders, and instructional technologists to create a year-long 9th grade language arts experience focused on project-based learning. From the start, teachers would be part of the design of what they would teach, as well as the support materials and the professional learning opportunities that we would share. At the core of our work was improving student literacy outcomes in ways that feel meaningful and authentic to students and to teachers. Intuitively, this idea of co-designing with teachers makes sense. So it might be surprising for me to admit that as our first meetings approached, I was skeptical. For me, this was a new way of working with teachers and a new way of doing research. The voices in my head were telling me things like, great idea, but teachers don't have time for this sort of collaboration, and our team of expert researchers knows a thing or two about how to make language arts more successful. And this is going to take forever. But I'm happy to report that I was wrong. As we began the co-design, teachers were hooked on this new way of learning and curriculum development. As one teacher shared, I like being part of a group where there's so much creative and positive energy. I feel empowered. And another teacher offered that the feeling of the group was really positive and supportive and never judgmental. It was a learning community. Compose Our World has been a work in progress. We are currently conducting a study with 50 teachers in Colorado and Michigan and looking closely at teacher and student outcomes. We do include some coaching, but it's not the coach as expert model I described earlier. It's more collaborative. Perhaps most importantly, we facilitate the development of a teacher-researcher learning community where everyone can share ideas, ask questions, and support each other around a shared vision of making classrooms better places for both teachers and students. We know this model of teacher learning is working because teachers and students tell us they are more engaged, they are taking risks, that they have more choice, and that their learning feels more meaningful. They are presenting at conferences and taking the work to different grade levels, subject areas, and to different schools. Teachers are becoming leaders. After our Compose Our World Design Institute this fall, a teacher shared, "I am very, very excited about starting school this year. Maybe this will be the thing that stops me from counting down the years to retirement." Our education system is in a state of crisis. Teachers aren't paid well, and they are constantly evaluated. Fewer young people than ever are entering into teacher education programs, and experienced teachers are leaving the field in droves. I believe that creating positive spaces for teacher learning is a crucial step towards retaining teachers and revitalizing the profession. I was recently reminded of a quote by Doris Lessing. She tells us that learning is when you suddenly understand something you've understood your whole life, but in a new way. I have always thought that co-design was a great idea, but putting it into practice with a community of educators and researchers has helped me to understand teacher learning in a whole new way. I am inspired to continue my research and practice, designing with and learning from teachers as partners.